You guys are all leaders here, correct? Okay, so you're leaders here. One thing you guys need to realize, you're also leaders out in the community. You guys represent Waller as a leader. And what does that mean to you?
We deal with the Pit Bull Alliance, which helps with actually getting food for animals, for people who have animals. And I used to think that was crazy. I'd get really angry before this job, going, if they can't afford to feed themselves, why do they have a dog? Until I realized, I don't care if it's got papers or not, this is an emotional support animal. This is a form of protection, and they're going to feed that dog before they feed themselves.
And then the other thing we talk about is when you're driving down the road, you see people that are flying the sign. That's what they call it, is flying the sign when they're panhandling out there. Carry bottles of water with you. 9 times out of 10, when you're driving away, you'll see that person drinking it down because they cannot get fresh water in this city.
What kind of things are we told, do we know, have we heard, contribute to being homeless? Bad luck. That's real. And we'll talk about how you get a flat tire and now you got to make your car payments so you can get to work, and now you can't pay rent. It's a flat tire that could put you on the street. Anyone have any idea what causes a lot of substance use or mental health disorders? What kind of things contribute to that? Say again?
Trauma.
You know what causes trauma? When you become homeless.
He goes, well, I have a drug addiction. Okay. Why? Well, because it helps me. He has extreme ADHD, worse than us. And he loves working on electrical parts. But if he doesn't have medication for it, he can't do that because he can't focus on it. Cool, well, there's Adderall and all those legal drugs out there. He goes, great. He goes, first off, homeless. Okay, I don't have a doctor. He goes, if I do see a doctor, he prescribes me the prescription. Now I have to have money for the prescription. I take those legal drugs back to my tent, they get stolen. Now I go back to the doctor, told him that they were stolen. He doesn't believe me. Now I'm blacklisted and can't get him anymore. Meth basically had the same effect on him what Adderall does. He said the only side effect is I have to sleep for a couple days when I come off of it.
But that's not the hard one. The hardest drug for withdrawal is alcohol. If you stop using alcohol suddenly, and people say, just quit drinking, in the first 3 days you can actually die. Because I had heard somewhere along the line about a priest who wanted to see what it was like to be homeless. And like Jason said, the priest said the worst part was becoming a non-human, not being acknowledged. If you're out there with your partner of the opposite sex, and that's your rock, and that's who you need to be with, that's who's going to get you through this, one, he has to stay at Mel Trotter, and the other one has to go up and stay at Degage. If you've got more than 2 backpacks on you, everything you own, and it's more than 2 backpacks, they can't go into the shelter. If you're uncomfortable sleeping in a room with up to 49 people, you might not be able to go into the shelter. A gentleman was walking down the beach, and it was high tide, and a bunch of starfish had all washed up on shore, and he's looking down the beach, and there's a gentleman down further and picking up starfish and throwing them back into the water. It's blowing his mind, and he needs to catch up, so he catches up to him and I said, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm putting starfish back in the water. He says, you're not going to make a difference. There's hundreds, there's thousands of starfish. You're not going to make a difference. And the gentleman reached over, picked up a starfish, and said, it made a difference to that one.